economic inequality is a very what are the the game between rich and poor?
Well, this is a one of those billion-dollar question because it's so complicated and deep, at the same time very simple. When I talk about, because I'm not very smart and I simplify things, the whole problem, as I said, the problem is that we have forgotten that we are from the same creator and we are all family in the world. And so when we don't realize that, then of course there will be disparities. And it's visible in India, but also is visible in Canada, is visible in states and many places. The solution, normally people come with economic system and different varieties. But I go back what Abdul Baha said. The secret of economics is in divine and is in the heart of people. Now, and of course, he refers to education. So, in one way, basically educating people to go back to the word of a spirit. That to me may be simplified, but that's the solution. Because if we have selfish people, if I'm selfish, you put me under communist economic system, I'll do what I can do being selfish. And if you put me in a capitalist system, I'll be the same thing doing it. But if you change my mind and soul and educate me to be a better human being, whatever I do, it would be good. So this is the problem with everywhere education and bringing, that's why I always say we have to inject humanity into economic system. Unless we do that, we can propose different government policies and economic system proposals and everything. Is not going to work because people's heart and mind is not in it. It's just not going to work. So my suggestion would be inject humanity in the economic system and people's I wish there was a pill or injection. We just give them pills and say, have this, you become a good human being and you're acting all right. But sadly, we still have to go back to the basic. We have this free will and we have this, and sometimes we don't know what we are doing and we are doing so much harm. So if I want to suggest, I said, please find ways of educating people, reminding them about their humanity. That's who they are first. And that goes for education system. We teach them all variety of sciences, computer sciences, physics, and this and that. But we don't teach them how to be human. Old times, I started school, Martyr School in Jaipur, and still running. Old times, education was you send your kid to the master, and he was teaching them under the shade of a tree, maybe mango, whatever it was. And then he would teach them humanity, how to be a human being. And after they understood what is being to be a human, then it would say, okay, now we are learning sciences and maths and algebra. So that's what I said. I just really believe that unless we don't change people's mind and heart, and we don't remind them to act and behave like a human being. That's why Abdul Baha says the secret of whole economic system is divine and is deals with the heart and soul. So
You many, many happy people who aim for in your opinion, how everything has the been.
well, the whole history of mankind is a progression. and many times have been referred to a child growing to become an adult and become mature. Same with our efforts in terms of eliminating poverty or any issue. It's been same with political system. First World War led to League of Nations. The Second World War led to United Nations. It was a little progression. None of them were perfect because humanity is still is not even in adulthood. So in one way, it has been some changes and been good that it helped. But fundamentally, as we can see evidence everywhere, it hasn't done anything. It's still poor are poor and rich people are getting rich. The system is set such way that people find it difficult to have minimum for their living. And I guess most people don't realize that what is the goal of Baha'i faith? The Baha'i economic is this. You can be billionaire, gazillionaire, whatever you want to be, as long as everybody in this world have enough to eat, educate, take care of his family. It's fine. You want to be a billionaire, go for it. Good for you. And if you use that money for humanitarian thing, awesome. You're getting some merits for the Apa kingdom. But if not, it's not. So that's why we really believe that I believe, and I think writing supports it, that we have to reach a maturity that everybody should get. And that's why the topic of guaranteed basic income is going around many European countries, even in Canada. So government decides everybody gets bare minimum, that you take care of your health, you take care of education, your housing, food, everything. After that, whatever you want to do, you want to be rich, great. So all effort answering your question, I don't think so far humanity has tackled the uh, solution, have tackled the problem of poverty. So we are still struggling. There are some achievement here and there. There are more awareness of the rich people to realize that they can make a play. That's why Bill Gates wants to eradicate malaria in Africa or something. And there will be more as humanity becomes more aware of their human essence. I think we'll see more examples. But for now, as of today, I don't think there has been really much to eliminate poverty. We see it. You see it in India, we see it in America, I see it in Canada. I thought homelessness and poverty belongs to other countries. Recently, I was in Victoria, in Vancouver Island, and I could see people poor on the streets, living on streets. There were people coming in our town. They were living on tents and, living in poverty. So we haven't done much. To answer your question, I don't think we have done enough. There's miles to go before we sleep.
But do come no oh oh
Um, I think is greed,
mm,
selfishness. You have to remember that the whole capitalism, as I said before, is based on self-interest. That's the engine. So what does self-esteem, self-interest means? Means me first, and then you second. So that is the root cause. We build this economic system on a shaky foundation of me first and I don't care for you. Rather than what Baha'i writing says, it is for us. Your neighbor's poverty, your problem is mine because we are all one family. So that's what I think the problem started. The whole economic system is in a shaky, selfish, a breeding ground. I call it a breeding ground for greed. And once the greed comes, you just see nobody beside you, me first. And I don't care what happens to this. That's the attitude of capitalism most of the time. And in other systems too, even communism, when it came to solve and give power to the working class, then some of the working class became the worse than the capitalists. and they were exploiting people. So that didn't work either. So I think that's the problem is that we realize we are one and bring more humanity into our daily life. And my solution is always, I've written an article about suggesting about 60 or 50 suggestion that practical suggestion. Most people are waiting for economic system comes and solves all the problems. And we say, this is a system, everybody joins and say, oh, great, now problem is over. It is not. If unless every individual plays his part, you and me, remembering that I have a spiritual duty to take care of my brothers and sisters if I can, by money, by service, or whatever kind of a thing. If we start doing it, we have created a revolution without announcing a revolution. If every individual does, as Abdul Baha says, every Baha'i had practiced one of the principles of the faith, the world would be Baha'i by now. So obviously we are failing somewhere. But
mm,
if everybody being aware that I am not powerless, the power of one, I'm not powerless. I cannot change the world, but I can try to reach out to my neighbor. I can reach out to a poor person. If we all do that, so we are setting a foundation for a beautiful economic system. Because you may have a beautiful economic system, but there is no solid foundation, which means the individuals not grasping the idea of oneness, it will going to collapse. So I think most, and I'm glad to see that the 9 year plan with the emphasis on social action and its amazing way of solving the problem because we are empowering communities to help each other, to serve each other, to be aware of each other's need. And I think that is the amazing beauty of the 9 year plan. Every individual in his own way can find a way to serve humanity. And by doing that, every individual is contributing little by little. Before you know it, say, oh my God, it's become universal. Then we are ready for economic system based on values.
mm,
You cannot have an economic system when the foundation is selfishness, when the foundation is me first. But you can have any system when the foundation is based on a spirituality, humanity, any system will work because people do care for each other.
yeah,
It just simply work.
you know, in good ARP and the room in the global system is so involved with
Well, I remember when the Bitcoin came, everybody thought I know everything because I've studied economics, I'm genius and everything. And I said, I know nothing because it hasn't, faced the test of time. It could be like internet, Facebook. It can be used for good and it could be used for bad. Now, AI is in that stage of infancy. And personally, I can see the benefits. I've used it, but also I see this spam emails and the con artists and people who want to rip people. They're using AI so sophisticated that it's very hard to differentiate which one is real, which one is not. So I think, like anything else, is wonderful technology, but the question remains, how are we going to use it? Are we mature enough? It's like giving a sharp knife to a
yeah,
5 year old, surgical knife to a 5 year old,
mm,
and he doesn't know how to use it. He's going to kill himself or kill other people. But if you're mature enough, then we can become a surgeon and do a heart surgery and save lives. So I think at the moment, humanity, like any other thing, have to figure out so many things.
mm,
And once they understand the goal, then the means are not a big deal. Yeah, AI can be used, anything can be used. But at the moment, we have to be very vigilant because it can be used for good,
mm,
like the atom, the power of atom.
you know,
We could use it for a source of energy, but we started, dumping on each other. So that's why I think AI is, it hasn't face the taste of time. But I see the potential in it in a good way, and I see potential for in a bad way can be really, really harmful in the
mm,
wrong people's hand.
mm. I want to know var välkommen med barn and the other music our moment our meet our life. It would be every on this one for our good.
I think that was when I was interviewed, with the CBC, the first question was that they call you mystic economist. So how come? How come you can be a mystic and you could be economist? How do you, compromise this thing? I said, I don't see any contradiction. My moral values, my spiritual values dictates my economic actions. So in that way, it's very easy, if you're a good person and you want to do good, you'll find a way to do it. So I don't think there is any difference in that way, So that was my understanding that um, if we understand who we are and what is our role, then easy, just we have to follow the instructions or either holy writings or wise people that have written books and lectures and just do that.
No, and do it. Yes, God bless you the most important element of the world.
Yeah, actually, I see the evidence so pleasing. Actually, I wrote an article about it, and I was so I did a research and find out annually how many billions rich people are contributing different charitable causes. I was amazed because I thought these selfish people they don't give anything, and if they do it, they want it for tax return. And I remember somebody actually commented on I think it was published on BahaiTeaching.org and say, well, rich people are not doing from the goodness of their heart, they're getting a tax break and this and that. I said, I don't care. They're giving money. And I think as humanity matures, and this goes for everybody because billionaires are also human, as they reach a maturity, they realize because the soul knows everything. We have to remember we have a soul is connected to the main source up there. And soul knows. It's just that we are so busy with our brain that we don't listen to the soul. Soul knows. Soul is always hungry and once more knows is not satisfied. That's why there's so many people when they get rich, that is the time their problem starts. Their stress and all the problems, suicide, drugs, and everything because they don't know what to do with it. So, so soul knows it, but we don't listen to it, and that the cause of most of our problems. So as the humanity and the spirit of the ages start working and we become mature, we realize what is good, what is bad. We realize what is the meaning of money. That's another article. What is the true meaning of wealth? Baha'u'llah says is basically your wealth is love for me, love for God. So we don't want to go that extreme and say, oh, I have love of God in my heart, so I don't need money. No, but we can also remember that money is a tool so we can use to express our love for the Creator and for our fellow human being. Because the goal is oneness of mankind, so every little bit works. So that's what I think about the rich people. I think they've become aware. I'm very encouraged. I'm so pleased to see that they're realizing that they can do with their money, and more are joining. I was surprised to see how much money these people are giving to charitable. I was surprised. I was very ignorant. I thought they're not doing anything, those selfish rascals.
I bought your video at Gwalior. Quero me quero me de bom ao uso da mão.
Yeah, that was absolutely not planned. I'd gone to visit my friend, Mr. Najat Hagirat, and of course Saharjan and family because I know them. Even when Sahar Anwari, she was 1 year old, I was babysitting, so I have a picture of her. So it was more of a visit there. Then some of the Baha'is, they said, Mr. Niyaz Alam said that there is a writers' conference in Gwalior, and we would like you to come. And I wasn't really wanted to go, but then I was persuaded. So we went there. It was a wonderful conference. There were writers from different places, and I was so well received. I didn't know that I would be, because I don't think I've done anything really. So I was surprised. And I was there, Sunil Uliai, beautiful human being, and of course they invited me to their house, and they really treated me very well. And Sunil really insisted that I should stay 1 day longer and talk and have an interview for the students. As usual, because I care, young people are always my priority. I said, okay, for them I will. So that's how it came about. So I stayed 1 day longer than the conference, and I didn't even have proper clothing. I remember I'm a man of t-shirts and second-hand clothing. I don't buy really new things. So even my house furniture are mostly used or whatever. I don't care for those things when I can save the money for other causes. So anyway, I said, okay, I'm going to do interviews, so I need a better shirt. So I went on the street. There was a gentleman selling shirts. So I got my shirt from the streets for I don't know, maybe 200 rupees or something like that. But the experience was good because we realized that there is a no soundproof at that time room for interviews. So after interview, I suggested to Sunil, I said, you guys need to have a soundproof studio. And then I came home, and then later on, I think Tina told me that not only there is one, there are two of them, two of them now soundproof. So I said, okay, that was my experience. I said, okay, by doing that, we realize what is needed for this school. And now it's amazing to see the production they do in that studio, the videos, the everything. Because I remember when we were doing the interview, the sound of the kids and they were playing, and we couldn't hear each other because it wasn't soundproof. It was wonderful. I think it wasn't planned at all, but the experience was good, and getting to know more Sunil and Tina and Tuba, of course, and it was great. And of course, Sunil was very kind to, of course, making the travel arrangement back to Jaipur and personally dropped me to the station. I got really VIP treatment, and that's my experience.
In the same video, you give a bundle example. If we want but it tomato or for and it care about you would be at risk that different meanings behind the example and how it non and
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, I like that thing because to me that refers to what is a Baha'i economics. Is about the spirit. Now we have been trained that we should bargain. We go there, everybody wants to rip you off, whether you're buying a car or you want to buy tomato, they give too much, you bargain, and all this and happens. And we have been used to it. But that's not really economics bargaining in a sense. But there are times you have to be fair. The whole idea of economic is being fair, and we don't do it very much. But for achieving that, you have to reach a certain level of awareness that what is good, what is bad, what is fair, what is justice, what is injustice, right?
mm,
So when you have that yardstick to measure things, and that's where humanity is, we haven't got the yardstick. We still are measuring with the old yardstick of money and old measurements. So you reach that, and then it's very easy. You just say it's not fair. If somebody, we know Abdul Baha's story, when somebody wanted to charge him more, he says, "No, I'm not giving you."
mm,
And the guy was shaking Abdul Baha, physically shaking him, and said, "No, I'm not giving. I wanted to give you some
mm,
tip, but now with your behavior, I'm not giving you that." That's one way. The other one is that I think he was in a sheep or in a somewhere that he made the hotel, and he made sure all the staff, the working staff, they get money from him because he recognized their services, and in fairness, and he mentioned, I think, that you're not being paid enough. So, and that's what I do too. Whenever we go to restaurant or whatever kind of a thing, that's one of the practical things we can distribute. The whole economic system that Baha'u'llah introduced was fair distribution of wealth. All Baha'u'llah talk was ta'dil ma'ishat, which means um, fairness, distributing the wealth of the world, all the resources, everything. So everybody gets their share. Now, if that is our goal, then we'll find a way to distribute it. You may have 10 rupees and the other person needs 50 paisa. And you just say, okay, I can share, I can fare that much. You give 50 paisa to the person. It doesn't make you bankrupt, but it helps to distribute the money of the world. So in that way, we all can do that, whether it's 1 rupee or 2 rupee or $1, $2. So that's the beauty of it now. So if it is not fair that in your country or whatever, if it is not fair that you are sick and you cannot go to a doctor, you have to realize what about the poor people? What
mm,
happens to them? And that becomes the fairness that we need. We just realize they're part of me, they're part of this society, and it's not fair. So anyway, if the other day we sold a car, my wife's car, we didn't need two, and the guy came to look at it. I said, wait, 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 before I tell you about anything, I want to tell you where there is a rust and what is the problem. He says, why are you telling me about these defects? I said, because I want to be fair. You will see the good part, but I want you to see the defects that you don't see. There's a rust here and there, or this is this or that. Anyway, and he said, "Why are you doing it?" I said, "Because I want to be fair."
mm,
And he was so pleased, and of course he likes it. And that's the second time I did, and I got a better price, by the way. By the time I sold it, I got the price I wanted. But I'm trying to say, not every time people say, if you want to be honest, you will be a loser. This is very common.
mm,
The market is not good for the honest people. In business, if you're honest, you can do nothing. If you're honest, I don't believe in it. I really don't, because there are two things in it. One is that I'm not sure economically you'll be a loser. Second, I know spiritually and emotionally you're proud of yourself and you have a peace of mind that nobody, no rich man can buy it with any money,
mm,
that I was fair, I did right, and my conscience is clear. I can sleep without any guilt. And that is something everybody's looking for, peace of mind. They don't have it because they know how many times they have cheated people. That's my observation, of course.
mm. You said that money is important, but not the goal. What advice would you give to one not what money? depending on others.
Hmm. I don't know if I understand the question is like people who don't have money, source of money, that's the
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Well, that is something again we have discussed it in the faith. We know Abdul Baha says there will be graduate taxation and there will be storehouses
yeah,
where there are seven avenues and seven ways of expending.
yeah,
And of course, we know all the house of worship will have nine agencies have it. So the
yeah,
concept is this: there will be agencies that they will take care of those matters because not everybody can be doing everybody's doing it, and for whatever reason there could be accident, could be sickness, could be anything, and people are not able to work. And so that becomes the duty of other human beings, the whole system, to take care of them, as long as we are sure that we are not enabling people to make a profession of that. That's why we don't have beggars, we don't encourage because people don't want to work and they beg. Oh, well, if you go and work if you can. But there are some places that even if you're ready to work, but you cannot find a job. So all those people should be helped by the generosity or the taxpayers' money, and they should be looked after because the idea is everybody in the society
yeah,
should have enough to live.
yeah,
I would have not been able to get close to wasn't this miracle of technology. So I know firsthand the difference between old methods, which was those board, and it was cutting edge at that time. It was like, wow, this is amazing. We can point at the symbol and have some idea. Now you're just talking like anybody else, and I'm answering your question like anybody else. Like there is no difference